American politics continue to be as omnipresent as they are endlessly divisive. It's easy to feel that progress is going backwards in these trying times, which is why some look to the past to glean cautionary tales and lessons that can be applied today. Divisive times or not, Hollywood has always had a keen fascination with U.S. history, especially when it comes to American presidents. That goes double for particularly infamous moments, such as the assassinations of Abraham Lincoln and John F. Kennedy, which have been the subjects of countless different films and television shows. Those specific tragedies are known around the world and feel even more relevant today, given the rise of political violence in the U.S. However, one particular assassination, that of the 20th U.S. President James A. Garfield, has mostly been forgotten. That's a historic wrong that Netflix and Bad Education writer Mike Makowski hope to right with Death by Lightning. While this glimpse into a bygone era of politics can feel a bit too jokey at times, it's still a gripping examination of a major historical event that boasts captivating characters and strong performances. Matthew McFadden and Michael Shannon lead a star-studded ensemble in Death by Lightning. As made clear in the show's opening moments, Death by Lightning is the story of two men, namely the 20th President of the United States and the man who shot him. James A. Garfield is a humble Ohio congressman who never wanted to lead the country in the first place, but has that responsibility thrust upon him in 1860 as the nation is still recovering from the notoriously deadly Civil War. Garfield's eventual killer, Charles Guiteau, is a down-on-his-luck troublemaker who becomes infatuated with American politics and Garfield as a leader, only to progressively grow disillusioned with his lack of progress in Washington, D.C. While their two stories converge, New York Senator Roscoe Conkling and eventual Vice President Chester Arthur make their own respective plays for the White House. While Garfield does have an understandably large role in Death by Lightning, the vast majority of the story's focus is given to Guiteau. With his voracious lust for power and relevancy, and his impressive ability to suck up to everyone around him, it's genuinely hard not to compare the character to McFadden's most famous character since Pride and Prejudice, Tom Wambsgans from Succession. That could very well be redundant if done incorrectly, but in this case it works. Instead of taking the simple route and portraying Guiteau as a deranged, bloodthirsty killer, McFadden's version is a relatively ordinary hustler whose failures are a result of both his own selfish desires and the lack of mental health resources. Shannon is a compelling choice for James Garfield, but he isn't given nearly as much to do, and his psychology doesn't feel as thoroughly explored. Still, it's an oddly fitting approach, given Garfield himself only served in office for about a year. The lack of Garfield's screen time is made up for in a gripping subplot involving Conkling and Arthur, whose nuanced political plays are just as engaging as the main build-up to Garfield's assassination. American Primeval's Betty Gilpin and The West Wing's Bradley Whitford also get some time to shine in their own great supporting roles. Death by Lightning sticks the landing with a riveting finale.
Despite the grim subject matter, Death by Lightning is quite a bit more comedically charged than one might initially expect. It boasts a tongue-in-cheek tone ripe with sharp humor and witty dialogue, making it much closer to a dark comedy than a serious period piece. For 3 of Death by Lightning's 4 episodes, while the characters and performances are strong throughout, the jokey tone doesn't always work. Not only do the constant nods at humor feel a bit tonally inconsistent, they also sometimes feel like they take away opportunities for more dramatic character moments. That being said, none of those criticisms are on display in Death by Lightning's finale, which knocks things out of the park with the best episode of the series by far. The major event that the series has been building up to is expertly crafted, as we get to see the true scope of the person Charles has become and how he has become consumed by all the toxic aspects and interpretations of the so-called American dream. Similarly, Garfield's reaction to the shooting is also engaging. Rather than a quick and instantaneous death like Lincoln or Kennedy, what happens to Garfield is a long and drawn-out affair, and Death by Lightning does a marvelous job of adding weight and tragedy to the whole sequence. Death by Lightning's finale is honestly so good that it almost warrants an immediate rewatch of the series, as it really does offer a new perspective on how these characters grew and developed over time. That kind of invitation to hindsight is impressive, since the show literally begins by telling the audience exactly what happens at the end of this American saga. While the attempts at humor and levity could have been toned down, they do help add a sense of normalcy to an otherwise extraordinary tale. Death by Lightning is not a show that is trying to glorify a tragic act of violence. It's about the immense unpredictability of said events and why they happen. The show's very title comes from the idea that a political assassination is a very rare occurrence, but recent events have undeniably proven otherwise, and there is a level of historical irony that the big moment of the series takes place only a few years after Abraham Lincoln was killed. At its core, Death by Lightning is a remarkably human miniseries anchored by an incredible ensemble cast. Death by Lightning is available to stream on Netflix now.